keep on singing. I love everybody. I can't hear you. I love everybody. I love everybody. In my heart, where I love everybody. Wait, see, this is actually important. We're actually beginning. And you see it's participatory. Because, you know, a lot of times you go to stuff and you don't get a chance to do anything as a group. But this is our tradition. We start doing something together as a group. And so, and we start by putting out the ethic of how we're going to be. So we don't have no guidelines. We just got this. We're all here together. This is real time, real space. There's no like wall between us and you. And you know, we love everybody as a discipline. Not like, not agree, love. So that was your rehearsal. And that's not something to say timidly. There's acceptance if that's what you've got to give. But you know, you can actually give your life force to it. I love everybody. I love everybody. I love everybody. In my heart, where I love everybody. Singing, I love everybody. Singing, I love everybody. In my heart, let me hear the people. I love everybody. I love everybody. I love everybody. In my heart, I love everybody. Singing, I love everybody. Singing, I love everybody. In my heart. That's one of my tools for learning who's present. And I see we don't have many people who feel comfortable with congregational singing present. But that's how we start things where I come from. We really wanted to be in this space because it's a space that's about healing, and I like the idea that Black women are at the center of the healing in this space, and there's an invitation to everyone else to join us in our work to be well. And so that just felt right to be the place where we host Women with a Vision. This is a series that Emily Ratner, who's running errands right now, and I have been working to do for the last 5 months. It came out of something that started with the PATOIS Film Festival, where there was a chance for Congress of Racial Equality workers who are still living in New Orleans to speak before a film. And there just really wasn't enough time for the elders to really have their say and for us to hear their stories. And so Emily and I were like, well, shucks, we don't have to stop there. We can just, you know, do this until we get tired. There are certainly many stories for us to hear. And as we've moved along, we realized that the story that we're listening for is the story of Black people who are from New Orleans who have worked to make life better. So people who have participated in struggle, people who have worked to celebrate the life and way of being of people who are here. So that people who are new to doing justice work, people who are new to New Orleans, can learn that just because oppression is so bad here right now, doesn't mean folks haven't been working very hard, very effectively since oppression began. So So this is just an opportunity for us to learn more about what the story is, and for other people to do that too. Now, I come from a tradition of storytelling, and and I wanted to say that specifically about opening the space by doing something together and opening the spirit, because this is an opportunity to really connect with spirit. And that's really at the core of how we make change happen. Is it feels right, And so we are so excited to have a mama-daughter team here in Miss Catherine Haywood and Deon Haywood, and they're going to speak. The way we've been doing this is a modified story circle, like a lopsided conversation, where they talk and tell us the story from their experience, from how the experience of how they started the organization that's now Women with a Vision, what it's like to work with your mama, what it's like to work with your daughter, and to really have that be the story of their experience, not so much a lecture, and then there'll be a time, once it seems like they're finished talking, for people to ask questions or to add information. And we were going to do a say your name round, but I'm sorry, y'all, there's just too many people. So if you'll make sure to talk to people before you go, and wave, at people and actually look at them in the eye. All right, so, one more plug. I'm going to be teaching a class on doing story circles, of which this is a modified version. You can modify them for what you want to use them for, starting October 9th. So see me if you're interested in such a thing. So I'm going to be quiet now and let you all introduce Women with a Vision, maybe share any of the definitions you had, and tell your story.
My story says we gotta go home and hide. Hey, how y'all doing? If I get too hot though, I'm gonna sit by and go. Okay. Hi, I'm Catherine Haywood. And Deon told me I should do this quick thing about how we started as far as Women with a Vision go, because Dee tries to ruin me. So anyway, here we go. Women with a Vision started about 20-some years ago without any funding at all. Danita Muse is another co-founder, and we had this thing about HIV information not getting to our community. It just wasn't getting there. It was getting out to the white gay population, and we had a problem. So she worked for NOCAD, which is a substance abuse for New Orleans organization, and at that time I worked for what's now FACES. It was called PAP, Children's Pediatric AIDS Program. And so we got together in a bar. We had a meeting in a bar. And then so we said, you know what? You can get some information from where you work and I can get some stuff from where I work. And so that's how we started. And we started in the housing development. We worked CJP, we worked Cooper, we worked whatever housing development, whatever area people thought they couldn't go in because they were afraid to go. So here you go, 2 black women walking up and down the project. But that's what we did. So that's basically how Women with a Vision started. Now, I don't want to leave out those other women who were there a little bit before me, who had this idea that this is what we need to do, but I don't know if they figured out how to get out here and do it. But there were some other women there who were aboard, had ideas, and I never want to really leave them out of anything because they were there. And of course, Dee was a part of that board in the beginning. She was there. So where in the beginning she didn't really start out walking the street with us right away. She was a part of what we were doing. So that's basically a quick version of,
What year was that?
I want to say 1990, 1991. And I want to say 89, 90. something like that. 1989, Deon's telling me, you know, I might be old or forgetful. Hey, forgive me. So that's our sort of our beginning. You want to add? Just so to help people understand like how Catherine and I kind of came together. I don't think it was ever my goal, and that sounds strange to people, given that I started this work at like 19, 20 years old, and I'm 42, and I never left Women's Division. I worked for other people over the years, but it never felt right to say that I would never be a part of Women's Division. And so, like Catherine said, her and Danita, and it was actually about maybe 8 other women who they kind of dropped off, but they started, and we started our little coalition of Black women who were going to do this thing in our community around HIV. And at that time, I was working for the National Council of Negro Women at the time. I was 19 years old, and I went to them because they had this teen pregnancy program, and I wanted to be a part of their program because they had this little flyer they were putting out in, you know, Third Ward, uptown New Orleans. They was like, if you're a teenage mother and you want to go back to school and you want to learn this, you want to learn that, come talk to us. So I made an appointment to go talk to them. And at the time, the executive director of the National Council of Negro Women, Miss Emma Broman, she said she came in when they were interviewing me, and she was like, "What's your name?" And I said, "Deon Haywood." And she said, "You wanna be a part of the program?" I said, "Yes." She's like, "I've never had a girl to come to us for help, dressed in, you know, 3-inch pumps and a suit, and because that's not something that people were used to seeing." But then this is my mother, so of course I would wear that if I was going to be interviewed. And so she hired me to be a peer educator because she saw in me, she felt like I had leadership skills and I would be good for young women. I had 2 children by the time I was 16, so she thought I would be really good to work with them as a peer. And so maybe about a year later, Catherine applied for a job there, a supervisory job there, for some employment training. And so we worked together, but not together, just for the same agency. And so soon after that, it's when the money started rolling in to do HIV education, HIV testing. And they said, "Catherine and Deon, do y'all want to work? Because we think y'all will be good working with sexual partners of IV drug users, people who inject drugs intravenously, for people who may not know." And so we were like, "Yeah, we can do that. We can do that." And so it's been on really ever since. We've not been able to separate from each other. And as my grandmother would say, we are married to each other. And one of the things I thought it was important to add is a little bit of our history as mother and daughter. My mom will tell you that my grandmother didn't talk about sex. She wasn't talking about getting no period. She wasn't going to talk about none of that. So my mother made it a point to talk to me and to me, my sisters, my cousins, everybody. Catherine was the person we was going to have the conversation. We were going to talk about it. And so normally when I say that to people, people say, "And you had 2 children?" Because they assume conversation means that is left out. But what I feel took place between my mom and I is my mother never got welfare, and I'm not against people who feel they need it. But my mother is one of those proud Black women. I used to say, you open up the dictionary and you see a picture of Catherine on the front. When you look at it, that would be her. She just worked 2 and 3 jobs, and she said she wasn't in the exact word, but I'm not fucking with the people out there. They're not going to come in and make me feel less than, and they're never going to make you feel less than either. And so we never had public assistance. She just worked really hard. And I have a younger brother and sister, plus my 2 kids, and it was all of us. And my grandmother used to say, "Y'all ain't never gonna have nobody because y'all married to each other." Because we did. We paid bills together. We sat at the table at night. When she got off from work at like 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning from working 2 and 3 jobs, I would literally wait at the front door, go in the kitchen, and her plate would be on the stove because I had to cook for my kids and my siblings. And so her and I we had to talk about the day. What happened, what got paid, what didn't get paid, what didn't get paid, what happened, who did what, who teacher I had to talk to. Just our day, that's what we did, and we did that for a long time. And so I always felt like this was our destiny in terms of being mother and daughter. Because I want you to know, my grandmother didn't talk to her and her sibling, but she sure talked to the grandchildren. For whatever reason, she freed up by 70 or 87 years old. You know, she talked a lot about sex. She wanted to know what was going on now, who did what. And so we always felt like it was our thing to be able to talk to women in the community. Catherine always say, people always joke, some people say they will come tonight because they were going to be shocked that she talked. But one of the things I appreciate about her is my mother is her truth and her honesty, because she is truly one of those people that if you want her to say something to you, she will give it to you. No chaser, straight up, and that's it. And so she's always been that person who, she's rough. My partner, Shaquita, calls her a prickly pear. It's a joke between us. She calls her a prickly pear because she is rough. But those people who really know my mom know that if you called her, she would be there. She may curse you out, but she's gonna fix you a wonderful meal. You know, there's nothing like Sunday dinner at my mom's house when she cooks. But it has for me been this really joyous thing, this journey that we've been on in terms of organizing and doing street outreach together, because to be able to walk through it, will we argue? No, you don't want to tell them. You ever did street outreach with your child? And some man say, hey baby. It's hard when you're talking to mister. Street outreach, you know, we get out there, we take our condoms and all our information, and we actually walk out and educate the public about STDs, HIV, reproductive health, a little bit of everything, right? So you're walking and you try to do your job the best you could. Some man said, baby, I can pay you. No, you can't pay her. So, I mean, I think that was kind of hard as a parent, because I'm always kind of ready to fight. For my children, I mean, come on. I mean, I think that's what you do, right? And so that part I really didn't like, because we were always in this. You know, nobody approached me like that.
Did you work for your own?
I don't have that face. I don't have that. Whatever you don't have.
Social butterfly.
I don't have that social butterfly thing. So no, I never was approached like that. So that's aggravating when you're out there trying to work, and then somebody tries to approach your child in a way you think, hey, we're not having it. So I just thought I'd throw that in.
Well, I would have to say, it's not easy being with your mother either. Because as you can see, my mother's extremely protective, but she's like that with just about anybody she knows. If she thinks that you're in trouble or somebody is being disrespectful in any way or stepping on the bounds, my big thing is because she is so straightforward, and I won't say, like, we enjoy it. I, to this day, cannot tell you the sorrow I feel for not being able to do education in the community and the housing developments like we used to do. You know, people, the projects, I don't know what y'all talking. That was a joy to be able to walk with people who appreciated you being there. And it wasn't like, you know, the candy lady coming out and she's put bottles of water, cups of water in the freezer for you because she knew you was coming on a regular basis, like clockwork. She knew what time we were getting out there. She was like, I got y'all water. Or the neighborhood bar who don't wait on nobody. We walk in and they say, get up, give them their table. Because they felt like we were a part of that community. We weren't there to take anything away. We were there. Actually, Women's Division just had an office that people came into post-Katrina. We never had that in all our history. We didn't need it. We didn't require an office for what? Our office was the street. Our office was somebody's steps or Rose Tavern right across from the Callio Project, the B.W. Cooper, or the Sandpiper Lounge, or Big Daddy Lounge, or anywhere, any Sportsman Bar, off of Daniel. Those bars were our office. It's where we sit, it's where we educate, it's where we talked about, you know, pulling out the dildos and did condom demonstrations while people drink. It is what we did. And so I long for that because we can't do that anymore, and we know why. I won't get into that long story, but it wasn't as easy like working with her, because Catherine would tell, if we've had we used to have drug dealers, and we were always respectful. Respectful because we treat them just like if I come into your job, in your office, I'm going to respect you. It's work. It's work. Many people don't understand that, but it's work, and if you understand the criminal justice system and poverty, you understand why it exists. And so we always gave respect to people. If people were meeting on the corner, we would say, how you doing, brothers? How y'all doing today? We good, dreads, we good, because for the most part, my mom and I both had, this is like our second set of locks. And at the time, everybody in the division had locks. And so if they didn't call you by name, it was always, what's up, dreads? Or what's up, mama? You know, whatever the case may be. But Catherine really would tell people, stop cold. Did you just hit that girl? Did you hit her? And the dude would be like, what? She's like, I just said, did you hit her? And it was always like, oh, they gonna shoot those mama. You know, because shit happens, it goes down, we know that. But it was always this great level of respect that people give her, like the hardest people. And then they will come back and really answer to her. I ain't hit her no more. Or I ain't went back to jail yet. You know, so it says a lot about her presence and that level of not fearing our own and the conditions in which people live in. And she's always been able to do that, even though she gave me a headache on many days and, you know, caused my pressure to be high because she is very honest, you know, about just people in general. Okay. Do you want to add something?
I think the work that we've done and the work that we do is important. I think I had to think about the things that I want my children, because I was supposed to say daughters, but basically all of them to know, and that includes nieces and nephews and whatever, because like Deon said, my mama talked about nothing. I didn't understand that. What the hell is a bird and a bee? And she's actually sending me around the corner to my auntie, so my auntie could tell me what birds and bees. And by that time I was in 7th grade. You don't need to tell me nothing. I've already heard all this. But if you want to talk about birds and bees, let's go. But you know, I promised me that I would always talk to them, regardless. I don't care what it's about. We have to have a conversation. And so it's kind of moved past them to other people. And the thing is, I'm kind of still doing it. I had some surgery. I came back. I told them about, well, if you ever have to have it, this is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. My only thing was I had surgery. They said 4% of your vagina is gone. What the hell that mean? What that mean? I can't do or what I could do. I wasn't never quite clear on if I had to get a shorter man or what. I wasn't sure. But I mean, it's all good.
But that's a good question. I mean, 4%.
But it's full from the inside. Don't worry, he couldn't get there no way, so don't worry.
Or she.
It's she for me, she for her. But anyway, so you know, you talk about those kind of things, and I actually talk about them with other people because you have people who don't know. They just don't know things, and so you don't know about that. Menopause came along, hell, I'm hot. We gotta talk about that because they all get older. And the thing I try to tell them, okay, you're 40 or 38, you need to start taking this, and this. Nobody told me any of those things. I mean, that was stuff I had to learn for myself. I have a sister that's 75. I called up and said, you went through menopause, so what happened? Well, what you talking about? Well, what happened? Well, I don't know. Well, what? So I still got nothing. So, I mean, it was stuff that I had to get for me. But I don't think I want them to get it all for them. I want them to know about stuff. And it's not kind of just them. My son has friends who will call me up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Why? My mother, y'all know we have PFLAG, right? The good white folk who run the agencies of parents and friends, and I do say the good white folk because we don't fit in. My mother tried 1 or 2 meetings with them. It didn't work out too well. You know, didn't go well. And I've been trying to encourage her that she needs to do Black Mamas of lesbian and gay children because she is the host mama. My brother is a beautiful, beautiful gay man, Black gay man, and all his friends, this is their mother. When my brother has had friends that passed who, from complications of AIDS, when their families like shut out their friends, she opened up her house. She did a repast at her house so that they can come together and mourn their friend, their friend. So there's many things that she does that I think people don't know, or she doesn't feel like she should get credit for because it just is. You know, that's one of those beautiful things about her prickly carousel, is that things they just are. I will have to say, because Shana wanted you to say this. Yeah, the cancer part, like why you went to the doctor, like how you handle it, why you did that, why?
Oh, I went to the doctor because you knew I was 50. Getting ready to go through menopause. I'm a short black woman. I did not want to be any shorter than what I was. So I needed to go on hormone therapy. But then I found out I had cancer, right? So I need to go through all that other stuff that I need to do. But it's okay, as long as I'm not any shorter than 5'2". I don't want to be. I mean, you know, that's vain, huh? It's okay. Say yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's like, hey, I come from short people. I'm a short woman. Could you see me losing all this bone mass and getting down to maybe 4, 6, and some of my people think they can handle me, but never have.
Who would think that? Like really?
Never ever. Never ever.
Who would think that?
She would. Because you know, she used to say, I'm gonna be tall like my daddy. I would look at her and tell her, I'm gonna stand up on the stool and cut your ass. It's okay. Yes.
I was gonna turn out tall like my dad.
She was short like me. But I mean, that's the reason why.
Did you all want to
Share.
Go through this right quick. Just to end what I call the evolution of women with a vision is we started out on the street and doing education and testing and all those things, from everything from HIV, like Catherine said, birth control, cervical cancer, breast cancer, you name it, we talked about it in the community. Post-Katrina kind of, almost took us out, like I like to say it, like many small grassroots organizations in New Orleans, the funding just left. And a lot of our funding was federal, and they were like, oh, the people, well, I think they said it's all the poor. I don't use the N-words like they said, but they said, oh, the little black people are gone, all the poor, they got them out. We could just pull our money, and that's what they did. All the funding literally dried up. It left the city, and we had like Office of Public Health, state, federal funding. It left. And that which didn't leave, they started to micromanage in ways that we weren't okay with. Given that I worked for the Office of Public Health for years in their HIV/AIDS services, and I was their training consultant. And you was telling me how I was going to do outreach. That just didn't compute for me. So we actually ended our contract with them in a very nice way till they get themselves together, clear out the bullshit and the Katrina water out their head. We left. We ended it in a peaceful way, sent them a little letter like, this is not working out for us at this time. We want to regroup and we'll holler at y'all later on. And that's basically what happened. But during that time, we always felt, and Shana always tells us this all the time, is we always felt like we were advocates, but I don't know if we really saw ourselves in that way. It's kind of, we just did the work. We spoke up for people who didn't have a voice. And we went to work. That's what we do. And I don't know if we always thought of it as work. It was just kind of our lives and what we do. So post-Katrina New Orleans, we continued to work with sex workers, and a lot of sex workers, and for those of you who don't know the term sex work, it is anyone involved in burlesque, striptease, dancing, exotic dancing, for sale, phone sex, you name it. If it's involving sex and cash in some way, sex work. And so, many of the women from outside of Louisiana who we had contact with, the Harm Reduction Coalition, many other sex work organizations, they were like, our sister organization is Women with a Vision. You need any harm reduction, you need any bleach kits, you need anything, you get stuck, you get in trouble, you need condoms, you need lube. Call Women with a Vision. And so they did, not to mention the women who were from New Orleans. And so some of them were coming up and they were being charged with a crime against nature. And to keep up with time, I'm not going to explain it, but it's all in our brochure in the back. But many of them were charged with a crime against nature, and those with money didn't get the charge because they could afford the lawyer. Those women who were...
Do explain it. Go ahead.
Women, I'm hot and tired and in pain. I probably want to. Lord, today, the people who, okay, let me say this right quick. Let me go back. A bleach kit is what people who use injection drugs use to clean their works. You use the water, the bleach to clean your works, which is your needle, your syringe. And so that's what a bleach kit is called, and that includes bleach, water, a cotton, and alcohol pad, anything you would need to clean your works for safer injection. That's what that is.
When you were talking about crimes against nature.
There was power with this bleach kit over here.
Work it out.
Trying to
So
work
you
it
got a
out.
few
I won't give it real quick phone.
Word.
But I did do some, because when they told me, but I was going against it, because that's what I do. The solicitation crime against nature is Louisiana Statute 1489A2 states, the solicitation by a human being of another with the intent to engage in any unnatural carnal copulation for compensation lays out the punishment for violations including felony conviction, jail time, and mandatory sex offender registration. Sex workers are often given scan charges and convictions. So that is basically what Louisiana statute states. Right now, one of our biggest projects right now, post-Katrina, and working with a lot of the sex workers and some of the women who are from here, and I must say that many of the women we work with really don't use the title of sex work, it's survival. Many of them struggle with homelessness, addiction, or they're just women who are trying to take care of their families. And so many of them, as a matter of fact, there are about 319 females on the sex offender registry in Orleans Parish who are charged with crime against nature, and they do have to register. Some of them are lifetime they have to register for a lifetime, which is till they die. Some of them have to register according to what kind of wild hair was up the judge's ass that day, for like they may have double time, 20 years, 25 years, but the normal time is 15 years to register. And I should say that our push to advocacy, the level in which we feel we're working in terms of advocacy now, is because we kind of couldn't cover it up, and it would have been weird for us not to feel like we were doing something in some way to fight for and help women and trans women who were charged with this. Because it's not just that it also goes on their ID, but it also keeps them cycling in and out of the criminal justice system. It keeps them placed in violence. It stops them from moving forward in the city that's rebuilding, and not including those people who are from the city. That's another story too. But
Shayna, you look like you. Why don't you just say it? Just say it out loud.
you know what she do. Oh, she wanted me to say, and the increase in HIV risk too for women. But one of the other things is many of the women.
I'm sorry,
she's a woman. She's always working. But many of the so this has kind of pushed us to no justice, which is kind of where we are now. And now we have a very nice office located at 215 North Jeff Davis. And women, we love the space, and all the women that we've been working with, they really love the space, and it allows us to do a lot more for them in terms of advocacy and finding resources to help them. Is they gonna talk with me? In the same place. It does provide them. You know, but it does provide them with a safe space that many of them do not have. The criminal justice system, and they're kind of like, you know, you say the fly got caught in the web. You know, that's really what happened to these women. Pre-Katrina, nobody ever bothered them. They kind of did their little time. They didn't register. It was kind of okay. It kind of went away. Post-Katrina, the Department of Justice gave money to Louisiana to find all their violent criminals. And so when those reports are done, nobody knows that these are women who are registered nurses who have dual degrees from LSU, or somebody who served 6 years active duty in the U.S. Army and was so fucking depressed and stressed out when she got back here that she, you know, she had an addiction, and so now she will register for the next 15 or so years. So many of the women who are part of No Justice are not what society thinks they are. They're no different than you and I. They're the mother, they're somebody's daughter, as we know, they're somebody's grandmother. And so we are working really hard to put together a legal strategy and really put it out there. And you know, this is Louisiana, we're not sure if we'll win, but we do know that all the noise we plan on making in the next year should bring some change. Did I leave you with that?
No, what counts as an unnatural sex act?
Oh, oral
Like
sex,
what?
y'all.
Yeah.
No oral sex that's unnatural, don't do it. It's a joke. Oh, it is oral and anal, and why women and trans women, why this puts them at risk, because if you have an addiction and you're feeding, or you're hungry, or your rent needs to be paid, or your kids need uniforms, or for the young girls who are living in New Orleans by themselves, who came back to New Orleans without any guardian, any parent or grandmother, and Mr. So-and-so who on the store down the street, he don't have sex with me, Miss Deon, but he just want to look at it, but he paid for my nails and my uniform for me to go to school. So this is what that looks like, but this also, if somebody's going to say, because I can tell you many people say, well, I don't want to use a condom, and if it's a fix, food, I might take the risk, because people don't rent. People may not look at it in that way, so they do take risk, and that puts them at not just for HIV, but definitely increasing violence, you know. And so, yeah, so that's kind of like where we've been pushed to, and I think we're being pushed in more directions, and now I feel this is full circle. If I can remember way back then at 19, when we used to have meetings on the front porch or with a couple of, I don't drink beer, I'm definitely am a Southern Comfort on the Rocks kind of girl. But for me, we would sit down and talk about what we wanted for women with a vision, what we saw as our future, and I feel like all those things are coming to play. Like, we want housing for women who don't fit in traditional housing. I don't care if they don't want to be clean, but if they need a place to stay, then we will provide housing for them. You know, if they need to find skills other than a traditional job, you know, then we'll figure out what we need to do that. And so I feel like this is our moment. You know, I definitely believe that Oya, even Yah have washed away some stuff. Hurricane Katrina, and they're ushering in all kind of newness for us, as well as all the people involved in Women with a Vision. And we just want to be able to continue to do what we do. And Catherine likes to say she don't work here, but she's at
I don't
Women.
get paid. I don't do this.
Well, many of us didn't get paid in the beginning. We didn't get no check in the beginning. It was free.
beginning. What? Free.
It's coming. It's coming. We got money coming. It's coming. It's coming.
I'm gonna be like the women. I'm still gonna pay my rent. It's coming. It's coming. Come on.
What you gotta do?
Pay my rent.
You gotta do it. And so,
It's coming.
it is coming, girl. It is coming.
It is.
So, I don't know if you have anything else to add, other than, it has for me, and she would, you know, my mother don't like all that. No, mommy, she don't like all that. But I would have to say definitely for me, because I couldn't have asked. She told me a story when I was a little girl. She used to say, "I prayed for you. I asked for you. I wanted, you know, I don't know how much I like your dad at the time, but I wanted, and you know that's a child for Women with a Vision, okay? You know, that she prayed for me, and she said, you know, she had this whole story, like the whole time she was pregnant for me, and I don't know what people's beliefs are, but she said, well, like this half a man in his torso, and he would be on my belly. I'm telling the story. That way. Yeah, this is my story, this is my talk. But I feel that I'm definitely a believer that the universe, you know, like people think, you know, this is my kid, I had sex and I had this kid. No. The Creator gave you that child. There's a connection that happened somewhere. And definitely they gave me to the right person. I couldn't have, Wendy is a good friend of mine, and she knows that I'm like truly indebted to my grandmother, who never ever made me feel guilty for having a baby. Actually, she was very calm about the whole thing. Because her big thing was, there was a time, if you didn't have none, you couldn't make certain people no money, so we're not gonna feel no shame. And this is the way it was supposed to be. Because I kind of think she knew I was a lesbian when I was about 12, 13. So she was actually quite happy that they got here when they did, you know? And so I'm very thankful to those strong women in my family who definitely make me who I am. They give me vision, and they help me to see where I'm going, and I'm very, like, I couldn't ask for a better mother, a better friend, a better wife. You know, like my grandmother used to say, well, that's my wife. That's my wife. But, you know, she has been every, you know, I feel like we've been everything to each other. My siblings are like, you know, my brother and my sister are like 10 years younger than me. And so I don't have like that sibling, I'm a mama, I'm the mother. I'm like, you know, when they things they don't want to say to her first, they say to me first, we talk it out, we figure out how we're going to bring it to her. That's what we do. And so it's always been this thing, it's like her and I. And so I'm very blessed that she asked for me and that the Creator gave me to her. And we've been on this journey together. And no, she don't get paid from Women with a Vision, but give me till the beginning of the year. We're all working on grants board and staff. And she gonna get a check at some point, you know, because I feel like women, they love her. She's everybody's mama. She don't like all that, but she is. Like if you was feeling bad, who better to talk to than somebody gonna set you straight but Catherine. So I just want to say thank you, Mom.
Seriously though, I don't get paid, but there's a but in all of that. I mean, in this new office that we have, I'm actually in there more than when I was in the other office when we got paid. This office is nice. This office is really nice. I just got a kitchen. I haven't really used it yet.
Tell them about your preserves.
I'm making preserves. I'm making preserves. I made peach. And I brought a jug to one brother-in-law, say, taste this, because you know he's old, he's going to tell me the truth. Talked to him today, said it was delicious. A little sweet for him, but it's good. So tonight I brought pears to the other brother-in-law. Said, I got to go to work, or whatever, but he called me up and let me know the taste. So we have peach, we have pear, and we have plum, vanilla. And I'm going to make pickled okra this weekend. But it's a fundraiser for Women with a Vision.
So I have to be resourceful. This is grassroots fundraising.
I actually love Women with a Vision. I do. And I mean, granted, I have a job. I have a job that I truly have to keep. I have a job that I have to keep because, you know, I have benefits, that kind of thing. But again, I love Women with a Vision. I work for 2 lanes, but y'all got that, where my love is. Got it. So that's it. That's basically all that I do.
Thank
When I say I love you, let's stop. Yes, ma'am.
Are there other people here? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
You don't have to say, okay, mommy.
Girl, let mama do it. See what they see.
The young adults that come to you that have either been in the city by themselves after Katrina or are living here without any kind of guardian. Are there any provisions that y'all have set up or any kind of connections that y'all have made to not only educate them about the sexual aspects of their lives, but moving them forward in some sort of educational mode of trying to either get them a GED or if they already graduated from high school, move them into some sort of a mode of training so that they could eventually become self-sufficient and do this as a choice as opposed to doing this as something that they have to do to survive.
We normally try, of course, I have 2 children myself, and of course we're mothers, and of course we always, one of the things I have to preface this properly before I answer you is we are a harm reduction agency. meaning that we try to meet people where they are. And many, just in the last year, like young people have voice, they have wants and needs, and they know what they are. So one of the things we try to do is really capture that. And sometimes there's so many other things going on that we deal with what's immediate to them, not for us. Because it would be my thing as a mother, like I am with my own son and daughter. Oh, go to school, you gotta go to school, but if you're hungry and you don't have certain things in place in your life, school is the last thing you want to do. But we do make referrals for people. We have made referrals. We have a good relationship with Louisiana Job One. As a matter of fact, one of the women who works there and runs many of the programs, she is a good friend of both Kathleen and myself. And so we kind of have an in terms of getting people in or trying to help people find jobs. We are really good because, again, when I say, like, we don't have no money. We should, because we work with people most at risk. But what we try to do is build really good relationships with people who have access to and who can help people. And so that's one of the things we try to do. And a lot of the young women that we've met over the years, and more post-Katrina, many of them are going to school. They do go to school. They're thinking about sex or the lack of sex or whatever the exchange may be is really all about they want to be in school. Yeah. They want to be in school with their peers. They want to have a clean uniform. They want to have nice tennis shoes. They don't want to feel like the odd man out. But for many of them, like it's a process. It's a process, like everyday living. Like for any of us who've ever struggled in trying to figure out and then dealing with the fact that they're youth, which complicates things a little bit more. But we are always trying to make sure that they get what they need, that there are resources that they can tap into, and we listen. One of the things, like we always say, like people come to us because I never act like their mother. Did you go to school today? I don't ask that question. I'm not gonna ask that question to somebody who is either using or shooting up because I know damn well right they ain't going to no damn school today. I'm gonna ask how often you use, how many times did you use today? Could you like smoke some weed 5 times today and not shoot up 10 times today? If I can get past that, and some people may not understand that, but we are helping them reduce their harm. I'd rather see them high sitting still than shooting up constantly, which brings on a whole nother list of risk. You know what I'm saying? Or if I can get them to have some kind of other change. You want to show so-and-so your breast, or show them your vagina, or whatever, for $50 to $100, can you do that? And don't suck his dick, don't fuck him? Then I'm going to be happy for that exchange that day. Because it's the reality of the population in which we work. But we do those things. But I always preface it by telling people, if you're looking for, and we always say this, and Catherine and I, if you're looking for me to come in and like clean people up, I want people to clean themselves up. Oh, I didn't say you said that, but I'm just putting it out.
I understand. I fully understand where you're coming from. The only reason why I wanted to know whether or not there was some form of mode so that people do have choices is because a lot of times young adults don't know the choices that they, or the options that they end up having. Because I know for myself at age 14, I was homeless. And so basically I've been taking care of myself for a very long time, by myself. But you don't, when you don't have a place to stay or food to eat, you don't think of the options that you have. You're only thinking about survival. And I know for me, it took lots of other people to think about options that they should present to me. And I was just thinking that might be also something else that you can do, even though that the young adults may not feel that that is something they need right now.
Right.
But have somebody else there that will give them those options.
Right.
And that kind of guidance.
Right.
You know.
I would say I actually am quite pleased with the partnerships we have in the community, because they really aren't about money. And that may sound strange to people, but so many things in this city are connected to money and who you know and what you're going to give me. I feel like, I like saying like Women with a Vision has no enemies. We got predators flying around. We got vultures flying around, but we have no enemies. There's not one person that I feel like we have asked something of and that they haven't gone out of their way to help. Be it our friends, other organizations, you know. I feel like because we don't bullshit. This is what it is. Can you help out with it? If you can't, who can? And we normally just don't play with people. So that is a plus for us, that we really don't have those kind of weird relationships that we know people that exist in New Orleans, agency to agency. We don't really have that, you know. But there are many things we're always trying to, and like I said, like Catherine, like she wants to teach some of the women, and this is for some of the older women who've been in and out of jail for most of their lives, who is somebody's grandmother, and not to mention that they have to, you know, it's very hard for them to find a job. They can't go back to school because you can't pay for it, because convicted felons, and rather yet sex offenders cannot get money for school, and that's what they are. To the state of Louisiana, that's what they are, to many systems. So even a job at McDonald's is hard for them, because once they show that ID, people are like, oh, we have children here. Oh, you can't work here. And so they spend many of their everyday carrying every single piece of paperwork they ever got from court, thick envelopes, big brown envelopes, carrying them, explaining to nobody, because that's what I call it. The manager at the McDonald's is nobody in their world, that they would have to explain the most painful parts of their life to a stranger every single day for a job that's going to pay them $6.25, $7.25, whatever an hour, and they still won't be able to live comfortably and pay the fees that the state of Louisiana say they have to pay. $500 to register, you're going to pay $500 to put yourself out there in your community where many of these women have kids. And so Catherine being able to coming up with the preserves and stuff and being able to sell them is like, well, why don't we just teach some of the women how to make preserves? And then why don't we hit up all the farmers markets, since every goddamn person I see that's farmer market, not that they go to my community. I can't say that, I keep forgetting I live in Lakeview, but my community. You know, it's, you know what I mean? My community, my people don't access most of the farmers markets in this city. And so for me, they're too expensive. And then they lie talking about we accept food stamps, and then when people get there and they get shit, our machine is not set up. But anyway, I'm not gonna get riled up. But anyway, you know, it's those type of things that people come up against. And I make jewelry on the side, and so my friends at the bead shop on Magazine Street in Georgia, who owns the bead shop, she's like, yeah, why don't we talk about it? You and I just gonna rep shop. We gonna teach them how to make jewelry. So if we can teach them how to make jewelry, we can create spaces for them to sell it, then they just make their fees. And some of them may do, you know, when I make jewelry, and I can't make it no more because I'm too tired. But when I made it, I can make from between it would be a day. I'd be like, just go out. I go to an office building downtown in the CBD. I would come home like with $1,500 of selling jewelry. You still want to get your drink? Anyway, you know, so we're always trying to come up with ways to, I hate using that word empower, but to help women find their power, help young women find their power. You know, because some of them are, most of them, all of them are extremely, have talents that they haven't tapped into like anybody. And so we're always trying to come up with ways that they can make money for themselves. Because the bottom line in the state of Louisiana, as long as they have that sex offender on their ID, going to school, they're not going to be able to pay for it, can't get a job to pay for it. You know, we have a young woman that's, I think she made 24 this year, but when we first met her, she was 23. She has to register for the next 27 years. She's 23. And you know, like the story you just told, she's been on the streets since she was 13 years old. Surviving on the streets of New Orleans, you know. And so where was we? Where was us when she was out there like that for many young women who are struggling. And so now we're going to penalize her even more, you know, in our society to have to carry around the ID at 24 years old that says sex offender. And her to be excited, yeah, somebody hired me at a bar in the quarter, and you know what? We have to celebrate that because where else who's going to hire her?
We're just, there's a fall equinox event happening at the Greenery Lab. And so that's why there are just multiple things going on, so.
Yes. So, we're done whispering Catherine, because I want you to know Catherine has missed bones for us tonight. Yeah. Because that's her show. And she don't come out after a certain time at night, so.
Can there be one or two more questions?
Yeah.
I know it's hot, and we're tired. The
The air
conditioning came
taking
back on. So if there's maybe one or two questions, besides mommy's? Okay.
Don't say mommy.
Oh, Catherine, I'm curious what you do at Tulane.
What do I do? I work for Tulane's Prevention Research Center, and actually I just got a promotion, so I'm now a program manager. And so what I work with the community. That's the reason I was hired. I was hired to be a link between Tulane and the community because Tulane actually has this horrible reputation out in the street. But I work around obesity, go out the street to educate obesity, nutrition, more exercise, physical activity. That's what I talk about in the community. Along with trying to get the PRC out there, because really people don't know about it. That's one thing. Also work Prevention Resource Center. I also work for the Center for Applied Environmental Health, and there's a new study, it's called the National Children's Study. It's to follow children from before birth to the age of 21. I will not work that long, but I will work some of it. And it's really an observational, looking at environment, looking at family history. It's not going to do anything about their health. It's not going to cure anything. Not for the children they're going to look at now, maybe in the future. So those are the things that I do.
I was just thinking that the work that you're doing is so incredible, and I was imagining that it'd be incredibly difficult to have this wrench thrown at you with the private against nature, the new law that was passed, and you know, doing the work that you're doing is hard enough, but then to have that happen, like, I'm just wondering how you had the strength to figure out how to move forward after that. Like, I mean, I know that
It will be it's kind of a strange question for us.
right.
Because it really is what we say, it kind of just is. If somebody in your community is in need, how could you not reach out or be there in support of?
Right.
For who we've been, not just in the community, but I think everybody involved with Women with This Vision over the years, that it is our tenet. It is a part of who we are. Even the people on our board or the people who come, and it is what it is that you can't see somebody in need. And these women they trusted us before Katrina. They trusted us with their most private thing, their sexual behavior, or to share information, or whatever it may be. They trusted us. So how could we sit down? I'm not saying that the work is easy, but I never feel like there's a time when I just say, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore.
Right.
As a matter of fact, we keep trying to come up with ways where we're going to make it better, and we're going to get more funding, and how do we apply for this, and how do we apply for that. And the one thing that I've always been very proud of, like, we've given money back. Because if it's going to take away from who we are, the character, and of who we are as human beings, as women, definitely as women of color, as black women, in this community, we don't need your money. We don't want your money, because we can never sell ourselves short or the women in our community short. And so I don't think it's ever been a question. Of course, yes, we're stressed. You know, they took my blood pressure yesterday, and it was like 166 over 108. It's been high, and I took my medication yesterday. I had no idea. But I know that there are things for me that I have to check myself, and I have to let go at the door. I have to stop, you know, because I come home when we're vision. Shaquita and I sit in our bed at night, and she's on her laptop, I'm on my laptop. You saw this grant, you saw that, you did that. We sleep, eat Women with a Vision till our friends was like, as a couple, why could y'all take Women with a Vision out of your bed? But it is everything we do. Catherine, we are constantly talking about Women with a Vision. You can't help it. And I think it's what it is, but we're always trying to come up with ways to, take care of ourselves. To just, but I don't think it's ever a question of like what we won't do, which has kind of bit us in the ass, I've learned post Katrina. It's bit us in the ass only because it's never been about money. We ain't got no money. Catherine don't get a chance. We don't have any money. We started out without having any money. So all the things we've done, people are always surprised about all the work we do and all we've done, and they don't have any money. But that is because it comes from the heart. It's like family. Catherine and I, we have clients, they're like, I'm hungry. I called Catherine, I was like, I'm about to pick you up from Tulane. She rolled up, we take our money, we call everybody else in Women with a Vision, you got $10, $20, this person don't have no food. We go to the store and we buy it ourselves. Not that we don't take in donations or have ways that people will support us, but sometimes when people are in need, they tell you have a young woman who calls you and said, I had a tubal pregnancy, I don't have nobody, and she's living in a house that should have been torn down, that we will not go and make sure that she has everything she needs to heal. It just wouldn't exist in our heads that we could, it just doesn't be that way. So we just move through it, just push forward, That's kind of it. And we're not even alcoholics. We're not. Catherine have a little caffeine thing going on. That's about it. Emily?
I'm wondering, I know, particularly around No Justice, and I've been running around, so maybe you addressed this, so I'm sorry if you did. I know y'all are working in a coalition that involves a lot of, never mind. You're not. It seems like y'all are working with certain allies in, like, for example, the public defender's office or...
But it's not, it's not a coalition. That it started out, we were trying to build that, but it can't exist for some people. And it's best that way, in all honesty, because everybody's not in it for the right thing. And again, we're never going to see women be put in a position that they're more exploited, and Women with a Vision sure as hell never going to be in a position where people are going to try to take advantage of us, because it's sexy. Crime against nature is sexy in the world. Everybody and their mama talking about crime against. Somebody came up to Catherine at Bayou Boogaloo and said, "Oh, we working on I know your daughter. We working on crimes against nature too." And we was like, "What? Where are you when these women are hungry? Where are you when some of the trans women we work with got beat the fuck up and shit, or the police are treating them the way that they do?" Which in some cases, you hate to make a worse than, but they could just walk and they're charged just by look. So where are all these people? And so we thought it best if we handle things at home. If you'd like to partner, we'll check you out and we'll move forward. So that's kind of like how it's been.
That actually gets to the core of my question, which was like, what has y'all's experience been working with other organizations, either that they're in a different part of the country or they're here doing work that's separate from yours, and you're trying to partner with them? It seems like that may be a problem you run into a lot. I'm curious about how you navigate that.
Emily, and Catherine. To be honest with you, I feel like I felt like I needed to leave. Sometimes I feel like I have to leave to get it, because I do quite a bit of traveling, but it's because New Orleans, and I want people to get this when I say this, again, people like Catherine and I, Shayna, other people who are born and bred New Orleanians that have been doing work for forever, is just a part of what you've done in your community. We've done it. We've been doing since I was 19 years old. We've been doing it. Shane and I talk all the time about memories we have about working and what people were organizing and the projects when we were younger. My dad and my grandmother. I tell people I used to learn to ride my bike in the Magnolia Housing Development. So these are things that exist for us and have been a part of us. And it seems to be this, like I'm always amazed when I travel or meet people here and they're coming to New Orleans to save the people in New Orleans. So I had to leave I do quite a bit of traveling, promoting no justice, and really educating people on the issue outside. And that's been productive, so to speak, and because it's happening in other places. Maybe not crime against nature, but you know, in DC, if you have more than 3 condoms, in New York, if you have more than 3 condoms, they consider that, you know, you must be, you're a sex worker, must be prostitution, which is keeping people from being safe. Because, I don't know, but I know some people will go through 4 or 5 condoms in a night, you know, according to who you are and what you like.
What sector you're working?
Right. And so I feel like that has been helpful because we've been able to partner with national organizations. We definitely have built really strong relationships with global sex work organizations as well as national. And so we all, we just finished some work on the UN Human Rights and Sex Work Pledge to the UN. So we just worked on that with some other organizations. So there's a lot of things happen nationally to really bring the issues together, because I tell people the thing, things hit Georgia and it stops. It never really comes to the Gulf, especially when it's dealing with women and reproductive health, and especially women of color. It hits Georgia, Atlanta, it's the South, and it really doesn't trickle here. And so a lot of times when I'm traveling, I'm talking about the issues, so we've done really well with that. I feel like at home, we do have really good partnerships with agencies and people that we work with who I feel like the work is aligned. There is no fight about who we are or what we need to do. We just know we need to do it for our community, or this is what's right. That's been good, but we've also come against people who have written in a whole, I had somebody just tell me a week ago, oh, we had a meeting at our office about an RFP, request for a proposal, RFP. And we were gonna apply, we said, ooh, they wrote that just for women with a vision. That was the exact words to me. And then they said, we decided not to try because we wouldn't be able to come up with a background. And it's like, really, you want to try to apply for money to work with people who are charged with crime against nature? You've never done it before. It was never your focus. But it's the dollar, the almighty dollar that moves people, that you would be willing to take money from an agency that you know doing the work, that you've seen women come into our office. Because, we've seen people's grant, we've been told that they say they sponsor No Justice. These are agencies in the city, and it's like, you sponsored. Well, I didn't get it. I didn't get a dollar, So there are many things that have happened that have caused me to, I could be it. I could be a beast for many people. And, we always make a joke that I'm the nicer one in Women with a Vision. But that kind of stuff I really don't have the stomach for. So it's really been some crazy, even like Catherine works at, Catherine, I'm about to pick on you too, Mommy. Must be some of the nice people at Tulane. Because we even had somebody from Tulane actually was on a call, just to give you an example, with one of our funders. And thank God it's a funder who we have a really good relationship with. But she said, oh, I work with an agency who works with the criminalization of women, and I'm going to apply. She gave them a whole list of what she was applying for. Never talked to me, and I thought I was the ED. Never talked to me. But they called me because they were like, we know y'all, we've never heard of her. They read our reports, they visit our offices, and they were like, who the fuck is she? Do you know this woman? I was like, not really. And so not only do we have to fight for community, we gotta, we have to fight to do the work. And not so much to do the work because it's gonna get done, but to keep, yeah, not to do the work,
to fight to do the work. It has been in history where people, Tulane included, for anybody else who go to Tulane, you do these grants, you write proposals, you get the money, but you go in right before you get the money to community,
take pictures,
and say, I work with, get all this money, and then you do nothing at all. That has been the most irritating thing to me
since we started.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with calling names about people, because what they're going to tell me, I don't really care. The thing is, I can tell you, Noah's got this habit of going and using my people, having big news things, and say, we're working with them. You're not working with me. You don't go talk to my people. Tulane too, do that same thing, say they're working with community, they're going to do this, this, and this, get millions of dollars to work with African American communities, and then they don't see them anymore until it's time to renew. It is a horrible thing. But you got all this money, but you don't do anything. You take trips to wherever.
Little retreats.
But you know, we walk the street.
Right.
See, I mean, it's yeah, but I'm not gonna get on that because I can really get
Right.
angry about that. But then I do get angry about it. It's a horrible thing.
But that's probably like, for us, like one of the most annoying, fucked up, really, and there's no other way to put it. I'll get my mouth from her.
She said she didn't get her mouth.
Wait, that's the only way that I can say it, that, because it really tells you where people are and what they're willing to do for $1 when you know people are suffering. Because that's basically what it is. And so that for me is probably the hardest thing, is that I feel like I'm more protective of our work, more than I used to be. There was a time, any agency could say, oh, y'all going out to the street, would you like to give out our information? We'd be like, yeah, drop it off, because it's community. That's what you do, you community, you break bread, you share the work. If the community, you have good information for the community, we're there, of course we'll give it out. Now I feel like I tell them we ain't doing shit for nobody. First of all, we ain't doing nothing for nobody if they don't come with some dollars for outreach for our time. There's all kind of ways I feel like I've had to like shut it down. Because we've had to, because then, you know, it holds people accountable for their actions and keep me from going to jail, really. Because I don't think I would like jail. Huh? Oh, somebody gonna get me out. Shane.
Let's go get her.
See, boy, we're gonna get us out. So, yeah.
Let's go get her.
Let's go get her. Well, it feels like we done to me. Do you feel like we're done? It's hot. So thank you for coming. I love everybody.